Welcome back to the Fox News Specialist. Our specialists today are Marie Harf and Whitney Boan. Now let's continue the conversation. Recent reports are fueling speculation that Steve Bannon, the chief White House strategist, could be out of a job soon. Anthony Scaramucci, the ousted White House communications director, poured gasoline all over that during an appearance on Stephen Colbert's show last night.
Is Steve Bannon explain it? Okay, but I said he was, and I obviously got caught on tape saying he was, so I have no problem saying that.
Okay.
But
is he going to be gone in a week?
That's up to the president. But
what do you think? What do you think? What does the mooch think?
Well, if it was up to me, he would be gone.
Okay.
But it's not up to me.
All right. The White House is under intense pressure from Democrats and other critics to fire Bannon in the wake of the Charlottesville violence. Just today, the leaders of 4 minority House caucuses sent a letter to the White House demanding the removal of Steve Bannon, along with 2 other prominent White House aides, Stephen Miller and Dr. Sebastian Gorka. This afternoon, the president responded to what may be ahead of Bannon's future.
I like him. He's a good man. He is not a racist. I can tell you that. He's a good person. He actually gets a very unfair press in that regard. But we'll see what happens with Mr. Bannon. But he's a good person, and I think the press treats him, frankly, very unfairly.
All right, Guy Benza, I'm going to let you just run with that.
I think the formulation, we'll see what happens with Mr. Bannon, is probably not one that augurs particularly well for the future of Mr. Bannon at the White House. But I could be wrong. We all thought that Sessions was on his way out, and, you know, he's ensconced in that position right now. I just want to take a step back. If you're Anthony Scaramucci, right, you just went through maybe the most epic flame-out in recent political memory. You go on Stephen Colbert's show, and Colbert can eat people for lunch. Yeah. I thought he was sharp, self-deprecating, funny, likable, made some good points, poked fun at himself. Yeah. I thought it was a good, effective performance from Scaramucci. And I was nervous for him. I was actually anxious. I couldn't watch it live or, you know, as it aired, but he did very well.
Hey, Mooch. I wasn't nervous for you. I knew you'd kill that. I knew you'd kill that, Mooch. Kat, so what I feel certain of, that if Steve Bannon is to go, it will not be because of pressure from Democrats, and it will certainly not be because of presumptions about whether or not he's a racist. But perhaps if he is the leak, and that is certainly what the Mooch and other people have insinuated, then possibly that might reap for something bad for his future.
Possibly. However, we all have those friends who we keep around because they know too much, right? You know, a little bit. Like, I have like 3 of them at my birthday party every year. I don't really want them there. They might cause a disturbance, but they'll cause an even disturbance if I cut them loose.
Can you name them? I'm sort of
kidding. I'm totally kidding, guys. I'm sort of kidding. But honestly, think about the fact that Bannon probably knows a lot, and he's been very close to Trump for a while. And if he was let go, and Bannon was upset about it, with the influence that he has in the media, it could look pretty bad for President Trump.
Well, I agree. Let me ask you this, though. I noticed the president, I think, very intentionally said, look, Bannon was kind of brought in at the tail end.
Yes.
He was kind of late to the party. Was he deflecting or downplaying that a bit?
Yes, and that was very telling because we know that Donald Trump hates these insinuations that he didn't win this on his own, right? Because then he went on to say in that press conference he just gave, I went through 17 senators and governors before I even met, before I brought Steve Bannon on, basically saying, I didn't need him to win this because a lot of the media says that Steve Bannon, his support, the support from media organizations like Breitbart are what helped him win the primary.
It's almost like he's pushing him towards the trap door.
Right.
You know, he's kind of just edging him over there just in case.
Steve Bannon will do at Breitbart or in the media if he gets fired. I mean, Donald Trump has to be worried about that right now.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what's going into some of this calculation.
I don't know. I actually think, Whitney, that if it came down to Steve Bannon and Breitbart versus Trump and his base, I think Trump wins that every time, quite frankly.
I think that Trump thinks that Trump wins that every time, either way. So I don't know. I disagree, but I think that...
Really? You think Bannon and the Breitbart base will be stronger than the Trump base?
I think that they could...
We'll take it around the tables. That's your take. Kat?
No, I think that the Trump base will stick with Trump no matter what.
That's exactly right. What I think. Guy?
Generally, that's correct. Now, the one pushback I would give, I invoked the name of Jeff Sessions just a moment ago. There was immense pushback on the right against the possibility of losing Sessions, and that seemed to have had an impact. So it's not like Trump's entire base is always saluting everything that he does. People are concerned if certain folks that they like are being edged out. But I think your point to the leaks is the important one. If he's the leaker, then it's seen as him undermining Trump, and that's an unpardonable sin in the White House.
But I think the big, just to go to what Guy said, it was actually more telling, I think, that Trump didn't get rid of Sessions because of the congressional pushback, that he wasn't going to get a new attorney general. It was when all these Republicans in Congress said, don't touch Jeff Sessions. I agree with Whitney. I think Trump believes he has this base no matter what. But that's a premise that I'm not sure he wants to test heading into an election year in 2018. I mean, Breitbart and that whole media world that Steve Bannon has his finger on the pulse of is incredibly influential. And if we don't have health care, if we don't have tax reform, if we don't have infrastructure, we've seen what can happen in this space, and that could be a tough election cycle. If there's a divorce there, there's a divorce between Trump and Breitbart.
I think President Trump comes out on top on that divorce, but we'll see. Coming up, Kim Jong-un retreating from his threat to attack Guam. Is President Trump's hard-nosed approach to thank? Stay with us.